Hi everyone, today I'm gonna show you how to create this wall art piece that I have already made. It's it's very easy. I call it idiot proof because I'm gonna provide you all the drawings that you need to create this wall art. All you need to do is just cut the wood by yourself and follow the instructions in this video. This is the setup that I'm gonna use to cut the lumber. You don't have to create a jig. If you have a miter saw, it would work actually better than this jig. I just did not want to spend more on getting a miter saw. I already had a circular saw, so I created this jig. If you want to know more about how to create this jig, just go to the description of this video and you will find a link to the video for creating a jig. But just wanted to show you what I am gonna use. Next step is to mark the lumber per the drawings that I have attached with this video. All you need to do is just take a tape and use a pencil. I'm saying use a pencil because just in case if you use a pen and your mark is not right, that mark of the pen would show up even after you stain the wood. So I would highly recommend using a pencil and just start measuring the wood from one end to the other and use the right angle that is needed to create the 45-degree angle. This is how I did it, and I would highly recommend to mark up all the wood beforehand per the drawings, so that will be more efficient, and all you need to do is just start cutting and you can cut all 72 pieces all at once. I'm just going to show you first couple of wood cutting. This is the furring strip that I want to cut at 45. You can see the pencil marks here, and what I'm gonna do is just after I cut my first piece, I'll keep pushing the next pieces that are already marked. That way it just goes a lot faster. So I'm roughly 2 hours into cutting the lumber, and I have almost all the lumber cut. Next step is to sand the edges, because just to make sure there are no we have smooth surface to paint on, and don't want to cut from the sharp edges of the wood, so we'll just sand them smooth. So that's my next step. Okay, so I have all the 72 pieces cut, sanded and ready to take the stain. Next step is to get the plywood ready, and first of all you have to cut the plywood in 38-inch by 38-inch square. Just wanted to show this trick that I use to cut my plywood. I measure the dimension from my saw on the way to the edge of this plate, bottom plate. For me it's 4.25 inches. So after I get that, this is the line where I need my cut for. That's my 38-inch line. And what I did was I have 4.25 inches from the edge of this plate onto the saw, and I added this furring strip exactly to give me a straight edge at 4.25 inch. So when I make my cut, I will have my end of the plate touching this furring strip that kind of guides me for a straight edge and make sure I have a straight cut. Now I have a 38-inch by 38-inch square plywood cut and ready to go. Next step is where we will have to differ, because the drawing you see here is showing the studs behind inside the wall that I have. I'm gonna put this big monster wall piece on it. So these are the lines that you see here, 1, 2 and 3. They are the studs. I have measured them with the stud finder, and I did a little sketch that kind of shows I want my wall art to be centered on that wall, but also on 3 studs to carry all that weight. After it's all said and done, the wall art would be somewhere close to 100 and 120 pounds. So either 100 or 120 pounds. So it's heavy. I would highly recommend at least connecting into 2 to 3 studs. So this is where you will have to do some math. You measure the studs using the stud finder, prepare a sketch by yourself where you want your wall art to be, and then mark up the holes. So these are the holes that I'm going to put using a big drill, and I'm going to oversize the hole so that you have some room, so you have some tolerance to for your big screws into the wall. So I have 3 1-inch diameter oversized borings drilled into this plywood, and I like to make it little oversized so that you can easily engage that screw into the wall, and you give yourself some tolerance. So this should be good to go, and next step is to start marking up your plywood where the wood goes. You can see the lines on the plywood. What I did was connected one corner from another corner, and then I had a center line drawn. What I like to do is once my plywood cut and ready to go, before I stain my furring strips, I like to put them on the plywood as they would go finally in the complete setup, just to make sure I have all the pieces that I wanted and they are cut the way I want. It's not too big, not too small, and if we have to cut some more pieces to make them fit properly onto the plywood, then this is the time to do it. As you can see, I have placed my first 12 big pieces in here, and seems like they look all right to me. There might be little more plywood on this side that I may have to cut in the end, but that is not a big deal. Once they are all glued onto the plywood, we will definitely need to make a final cut to make sure there is nothing sticking out, or if the plywood is too long and leaves the gap from the frame, we have to cut the plywood. So just trying to make sure I don't have to cut any more pieces, but seems like we should be good. Alright, here I have all the pieces set in place and it's looking great. I do have some bigger gaps than I like, but it's okay as long as the gaps are uniform. Nobody can tell from a place at least 10-15 feet away. The edges looks great. I was thinking that I may have a little longer plywood on this end, but it's just probably 1/8 of an inch. I don't think I need to make a final cut as well. I think we should be good after it's all stained and glued. We should be good. I may not have to make a final cut to make the edge straight to fit in the final frame. So let's get started. Start the stain process. Um, what I like to do is go by zones. Since I already have this set up, I like to already figure out which one goes first, which one is gray, which one is brown, and which one is plain. So I like to go by zones. I may take the first top quarter and put them here, take the other bottom quarter, put them here, next quarter here, and the top quarter here. So I like to zone them out in different quarters. That way you have you know it's gonna fit even after you take this off, take this apart and stain, they are gonna fit afterwards. I just wanted to show you my setup. Like I said, the southwest quarter, I'm trying to start with the brown, and all the brown stain in the southwest quarter I have placed over here. Southeast quarter, they are here. All the browns in northeast quarter over here, and the northwest over here. So that way, and I'll take each color one by one, place it in their respective quarters, and finish the whole thing, let it dry, and come back tomorrow and place them all together. Okay everyone, all my foreign strips are cut, stained, and ready to go. As you can see, I have 4 different quadrants that I have placed my foreign strips in and stained it. For the plain ones, I used this polyurethane spray to give it a little bit of gloss. You can see it probably here. It just makes it little shinier than regular wood. So next step is to cut the edge foreign strips to its right edges. What I'm gonna do there is the top one and the bottom one, I will cut it to exact size, to the exact length of the plywood, and the side one I'm gonna cut it little longer to adjust for the width of the foreign strip itself, so I have a right angle. You can make a miter corner and it will actually look a little better, but I do not have my jig set up for that right angle corners for such a thick foreign strip. So I'm gonna skip that. I'm just gonna do straight edges, top and bottom straight, and the side one making little longer to adjust for the width of the foreign strips on sides. Alright, so I started gluing everything together on the plywood, and as you can see, I started from the bottom quadrant. I would recommend starting from one quadrant at a time, and that's something I learned from my past experience. Just because you will have better control on what kind of joints you want if you start from one quadrant at a time. So as you can see, I had some more room here, but I also wanted these pieces to align with the edges, so I am putting bigger joints where it needs and trying to keep the joints uniform as much as I can. I glued the center pieces first and then started my way out. Um, you can do it the way you want, but this is something I learned from my past experience, that it works better if you start from one quadrant. Alright, there you go guys. I have all the wood glued with the plywood and I think it's looking great. I ended up with slightly larger joints than I want, and I know the reason why. As you can see here, if you just close in, you'll see I have bigger joints than I would like to have. I know the reason. The furring strip that I ended up getting here was slightly narrower than what I have drawn it for. So I have drawn it for certain dimension, and the furring strip that I got was slightly narrower than that, and that kind of screwed up most of the joints that I have here. But when you look at this piece from a distance, you will not realize that it has a larger joint. I mean, even from here I cannot tell, except couple of joints like this. I mean, I could have made the wood little longer here, but really, from my past experience, I don't think that was needed. So I'm gonna go ahead with it and show you the finished product after the edge strips is glued and screwed in. Okay, so the last thing that this needs is the frames, the side furring strips that I already stained and drilled holes for the screws. I like to put some positive connections, like to screw in the sides, and should be pretty straightforward. I have 4 screws on each side that actually goes into the plywood and not on this furring strip. It needs to go in the plywood, that way it kind of holds everything together. Alright guys, I'm all set to go. This is so I have the frames, side frames attached, and this is how it looks from the back. Just wanted to show you how my clips is looking, and how is the side trims attached. So you can see I have drilled a hole in the plywood in the place where the nut head would go, and this is how I have attached the side trims using black screws, so you cannot notice that there are screws attached. This is how it looks from the front. Only thing I would do now is just dust off all the front and put on a final coat of my polyurethane to bring a little gloss. Here is the finished product. Another one. And I was off on the weight. I said around 100 to 120 pounds, but it weighs around 30-35 pounds. So I was way off on the weight. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, and if you are creating a wall art piece based on this video, please post a comment below this video and like and subscribe my channel.